"38 years have passed, but I still see the faces of the children who sat in my class. I still hear their eager voices speaking Spanish as I came in. I still see their excited eyes speaking friendship. I had my first lessons in the high price we pay for poverty and prejudice."
In 1956, President Johnson signed the Elementary and Secondary Act, which fought a battle against poverty. This act mainly focused on lower-income homes and the priority of getting those children into school systems. Overall, the act issued $13 billion to public school districts and even supplied a portion of that money to some private and religious schools.
The No Child Left Behind Act is meant to be just as, if not more important than the Elementary and Secondary Act because it will allow education to be more accessible due to the funding they will receive. The act caused a major shift in American education because it granted equal education to all children. It increased education standards throughout the country and affected the government's role in school systems. The act was made to create a fair, equal, and significant opportunity to obtain high-quality education so children would be able to achieve at a higher level.
Time to come together to get it done so that we can truthfully say in America, no child will be left behind.
In 2002, President Bush signed into law the No Child Left Behind Act. With this new law in effect, it required all states have to make standards, and then test their children to make sure that they are learning those standards. The law also states that each year, more and more children have to pass a test, until in 2014, when all children will be expected to pass. Every year that schools don't raise the number of students who pass a test, the school will be greatly penalized. Now, the name of the act and idea that all students are expected to pass the test sounds great. America thought the same, as the U.S. House of Representatives passed it at a 381-41 landslide, while the U.S. Senate also passed it on an 87-10 voting differential. Even the far-left Democrats had come to support the Republicans and the No Child Left Behind Act. It felt like everybody was on board with the act and nothing could go wrong.
When you search up No Child Left Behind, all the results are negative.
Wow!
Teachers and friends who were teachers and parents from around the country saying kids are being over-tested. And then I continued to hear from many people that things were dropping out of the curriculum, that there was less attention to history and to science. I noticed that student scores on the International Test of Science actually dropped for the 8th graders.
In reality, there are good things that are part of the law, but either they are overshadowed by the bad things or the way the law is implemented. For example, part of the law is mandatory help for children who are not on grade level. Access to remedial tutoring is mandatory for children who are not making the grade. That is a good point. Sadly, the law doesn't allow for the funds and time to do this. So many schools are now taking time out of their day to have the teachers teach the tutoring classes. So now there is less time for the teachers to teach the core curriculum. Subjects like history, science, social studies, and geography, which aren't tested, have all but disappeared from most schools.
What's even more frustrating is that the more a school fails, the more sanctions are placed on it. You will hear people state that failing schools get money thrown at them, and it may appear that to the outside eye, but in reality it is a curse, not a blessing. You see that money comes with ridiculously strong ties. Failing schools are forced to use scripted programs. The extra money they receive is only for these programs and for people to ensure that the program is being followed exactly. You might say to yourself, well, if the school is failing, it is because the teachers don't know how to teach, and so giving them a script to follow will ensure that some form of decent education is getting to the children. I would agree if that was truly the case, but you see, there are many reasons why schools are failing and often has more to do with the problems outside the school than inside.
The long-term impact of it has been this obsession with standardized testing. I think that we put a lot of weight into standardized testing here at all high schools, unfortunately, at least all public high schools, because that's the way that our progress and our achievement is measured now. And then again, there are students who just don't perform well on these tests, and I think it's very hard for them. I think something had to be done to address the achievement gap and inequality in public schools. I think that that is absolutely true, that something had to be done. I don't think that the No Child Left Behind Act was the right way to go about changing things. And I think that is the key there, is that the intentions I think were good, but the outcomes maybe were not so good. I think overall the impact was probably negative. I think some students might have benefited from it. Just like anything, there's always going to be the two sides.
At first glance, No Child Left Behind looks good. Who wouldn't want No Child Left Behind? The program was passed, but now we realize that the program does not work, and it's time to go back to the drawing board. Instead of fighting about what could have happened and what should have, both sides of the government should band together and work towards a positive change where there will be truly no child left behind.